So I'm going to start by, this is how you begin your crochet. You'll want to leave a few inches of yarn at the end, that's I guess your little tail. Then you just do a slip knot. There's lots of ways to do it, but I wrap it around and then I tuck it under and just pull through. Then you pull it onto your hook and you just pull on the yarn and tighten it. There's lots of different ways to hold your yarn, and it really doesn't matter. This is the right way to hold it. So you put your pinky, you push out, wrap it around and over your hand. But you don't have to do it that way. The only thing that you need to do is be able to control the tension of your yarn. Lots of people hold the yarn, all through their fingers. So whatever makes it the most comfortable for you is just fine. But that's the right way to hold your yarn. This is also the right way to hold your needle traditionally. I don't like holding it that way, so I hold it this way, but this is the right way to hold it. Okay, to begin your crochet, you need to start a loop. And so what I personally do is that I just take the yarn and I wrap it around these first two fingers, and then I tuck it under and pull up. It's just a slip knot, and you can do a slip knot any way that you feel the most comfortable with. And then you just put your hook on and pull it on the side that's still attached to the yarn, and so it's tied around your hook. Now to hold your yarn, this is where people get a little intimidated. There's a lot of ways to do it. Everybody has a personal way, so it's really whatever is most comfortable for you, but this is the traditional way of holding your yarn. You put it in between your fourth and fifth finger and wrap it around the back and over. I like to hold my stitch that I'm working on between my middle finger and my thumb so that it's tight. And really you just want to hold it between your fingers so that you can control the tension. It needs to be firm, not too tight or your stitches will be really tight, and not too loose or they will be really loose. So there just needs to be a firm, not a whole lot of give, but that you can kind of maneuver it easily. We're going to start with a chain stitch. You start every crochet project with a chain. And this is really a good place to learn how to hold your yarn and to get good practice and a good feel of the yarn. So what you do is what's called yarning over, which means you wrap it around the hook. Now that's all that is you just push the yarn back, wrap it around, and grab it with the hook end of your crochet hook, and you pull it through. And that's one chain. So you'll just keep doing that. And I would suggest doing this a lot. I did this a lot. I would just make a long train of this until I felt comfortable with the yarn. And the reason you want to do this is because you don't have the right tension, your stitches will become different sizes. And so you want to make sure that your tension is right throughout the whole project so that every stitch is the same size. Again, you just yarn over every time and pull it through, and each of those is one chain. A lot of projects will, if you start a blanket, it'll ask you to chain 130 times or whatever it is, and so you need to kind of find a way to make sure you can keep track. So these are about the average size of my chains, and it's important that you keep the tension right, because if you don't, your stitches can become very loose, which makes your whole project very loose. And if you hold it too tight, they get too tight and you can't work in them. So they need to be just a good tension so that you can still kind of work in them without it falling apart. You can see here is just where they're the regular size, and then this is where they got looser, and this is where they're really tight. And you can see that throughout your whole project. Also, when you start chaining, when you start your project, you don't want the chains to be too tight because you will work in them and they kind of tend to pull. So they usually tell you to chain loosely, and so it does need to be a little bit more relaxed than you would normally make it so that you can work within it and it can stretch out to the project that you need. And you can just keep chaining as long as you want, and the nice thing about it, crochet too, is that it easily comes undone and you can just start over and continue chaining. And I would do this a lot because it's really good practice, and it helps you get a really good feel for the yarn in your fingers and for the crochet hook as well.